Hey, my name's Ralph. I'm with Flexfilm, and today we're going to have a lot of fun with this Volkswagen Bug. It's a 2003. Maybe you'll see a couple more videos show up on my site. We're going to show how to splice the old school way without anybody knowing that you've even spliced the window. It can be done. I call that the lost art in this trade, in this industry. People don't know how to splice anymore. They shouldn't. They don't have to. The films are able to heat mold down on windows like this in one piece. But it certainly is a cool technique to know. There are instances where it can and still it needs to be done. And a lot of these professional tinters that are younger, that haven't been doing it for a long time, never had the opportunity to learn how to do it. I had to do it when I started in 1987 and got pretty good at it, had some really good teachers, and I'd like to share with you guys how we do that. Okay, I'm about to install this back window in this Volkswagen, and I'm going to roll down this film on a 20-inch roll. I'm going to roll it down 42 inches. Okay, now I want you to know that I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to put it in the middle of the glass, and then I'm going to roll this down again, and I'm going to use this same edge, and it's going to go to the middle of the glass. So one's going to be on the top and one's going to be on the bottom, but I'm going to make sure this is the edge that I overlap to get a good splice where I don't have a color change. Because we're going to do a two-piece back window, I'm going to just wet shrink this. It's not going to have that big, that large of fingers that I can't manage. I'm going to determine which side is my release liner is on. Then I'm just simply going to put it on the top. I'm going to determine which line I want to splice on. I generally want to pick a line that's relatively in the middle of the glass. I'm going to use this line probably right here, and I'm going to cut, you know, about a ½ inch to a ¼ inch below it that I want to splice on. I want to cut my sides. I'll probably cut a little bit extra at the top because I'm going to heat mold this one piece. Repeat the steps. Continue the cut below the one I want to splice on. Trim a little off the sides. Pre-trim the top. Let's see here. This is only a rough trim. And then going to arrange the fingers like anybody would to make them as even as I can. Repeat the steps on the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and heat mold this this piece right here. These fingers aren't so bad to deal with, especially with a dyed film. They generally just kind of come right out. It's not so bad to heat a bug when it's done in two pieces. And I can even go over these matrix dots, whereas some people elect to cut below them because it gets so difficult to shrink this window. You certainly wouldn't want to worry about those dots when you two-piece one of these. sometimes this water gets in these fingers and they're a little slower to shrink. Usually, you know, I walk away from this and let it dry for a little bit before I start trying to heat mold it. I'm right-handed, so I can shrink better this way. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Again, I'm going to pull down 42 inches real quick. I'm going to make sure that I use this edge to splice to the top piece that I just laid on the glass so that this edge matches up with the same edge so I don't get a color variation. Okay, I'm just going to wet the bottom half. Determine which side my release liner's on. Make sure it faces me. I'm going to try to do this where you can see what I'm doing. Now you'll see that using these straight edges, you get the overlap you need here, but you won't really get it well over here. So that's why you got to go up. And you got to check yourself to make sure the line you want to splice on, which is here, is overlapped. But you not only got to meet the line, you got to go past the line the same distance you went over on the other one, which I chose about this much, which is right at a ½ inch. Same thing over here. I'm done. Now, I want to do a quick trim just to get this laying smoother so I can heat mold it. Sometimes you got to cut your phone off when you're doing a video. That'll be this week's tip. Okay, now I'm just going to anchor this film like I did the top one. And I'm going to work the fingers evenly from top to bottom like I did the top one. I'm going to do something. There's 100 ways to do this. I can lightly scratch this release liner with my knife. I can take a Sharpie and I can actually, you know, mark this film where I want to actually cut it before I install it, just to give me a tighter splice without so much film to contend with. That just gives me a line to see so I can cut it out on the glass over here so I can put it right where I want it. There we go. Again, I'm going to start my shrinking process just like I did a second ago. And knock these fingers down. It's a lot easier to shrink when it's a two-piece. It goes pretty quick. These bug videos probably take longer. These are one of the most time-consuming windows I know of. One of them, not all of them. There's some other ones out there that I wouldn't want to have to see how fast I could do these in. I'm just shrinking right over this other tint. Just laying down pretty good. Don't seem to cause me any problems. I still want to be careful. I'd hate to have to, crease this and start all over with another piece of tint. It may cause me because I'm using a different piece of film, it might actually mess my coloring up on the splice, which makes it look more like a splice. This is a video that's trying to show you how to, do a splice without it looking like a splice. Okay, just do the other side now. I'm right-handed, so I can actually control the heat gun a little better from this side. At least I'm more comfortable with it this way. Okay, now I got everything laying down flat. It's laying down smooth. I've got my film overlapped on the line that I wish to splice on. Here's the line. I got one film on this side and one film on this side, so it's completely overlapping where I want to splice. At this point, I'm going to take an open knife and I'm going to cut around the perimeter just like I normally would if it were one piece now. Except I'm going to find the line I want to splice on. And there are two ways I can do this. I can stand on an object like a barrel or something, or a stand that I have, and I can lean over and I can go from left to right or right to left in one continuous motion with a light on the back side of this glass so that I can see exactly where I need to splice. With a steady hand, I can cut right on this line. It takes a little practice, but in a short time you'll get really good at it. Or I can stand on one side of the vehicle, start in the middle, put my blade exactly on the line where I want to start and slowly bring it back towards me, discard the overlapping piece, go to the other side, carefully put the blade right back where you started. Got it again, a little practice makes perfect. Pull it back towards you on the other side, discard it, and then discard the whole bottom piece. Be careful where you put the knife in. Sometimes there's a little snag there. You gotta be real careful about that. And then once you have that done, then the two pieces are going to butt up nicely together. And now it's a matter of prepping the inside of the glass and transferring each piece one at a time over to the inside. and I will show you how to do that and how to line them up. And that's going to be the next step. Okay, before I actually cut to splice this bug, I want to show you what this looks like, what I've done here. This is on the outside of the bug. Here's where it's spliced. Well, it hasn't been spliced yet. Here's where it's overlapped. I want to splice on this line right here. So I've made sure that it overlaps all the way across. So I'll show you that. Okay, now I'm going to do my trimming. I'm going to start in the center. The steady hand kind of look straight over this line. I'm going to go really carefully, slow along the line with the most steady hand that I have. Getting a little hard to see there. I'm happy with that cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut around the perimeter as I normally do. I'm gonna use a fresh blade, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I left off a step. I want to know exactly where I left off. I want to go ahead and take the top piece off, cut it, pull it away, rip it away. I want to start exactly where I left off. Right-handed, I do this a little better this way. Go ahead and continue my cuts around the perimeter. I want to also discard this piece, and then I want to lift the bottom film, and I want to slowly discard this piece. Now when I get right here in the middle where I put my blade down, I want to make sure there's no little snag, which there's not. So then I want to, there is a little snag. Be real careful, make sure you don't rip the film. And I want to pull the rest of it out. Now this film is exactly matched up to the top piece. Now at this point, the trick is to install this piece first, match it up to this line, but I'm gonna take this off to my glass behind me, and I'm gonna wet it and proceed to install it. But I'm gonna leave this piece on so that I can see how it matches up. I'm also, another trick is I'm gonna, like, where these two pieces meet, I've cut them, and so there's an exact line of cut that matches. So when I'm trying to match these up on the inside, I can look on the edges, and I can see, you know, that they match up perfect. If they're like this, they're not matching up. It just is another measure here to help me match this seam up on the inside, which is pretty easy once you do it 2 or 3 times. Okay, now that we've discarded the material, you can see there's no more big overlap. You see right here where that's just laying it down. Now it'll go together really nice. there's no more fat, dark line in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and lift this and get ready to fill the release liners for the installation. Okay, now what we do is we spray the inside and we pick up the film. The other piece of film is on the outside. I can actually, match this film up with that, just kind of as a guide. Don't get distracted by this other piece of film on the outside of the car, because it may throw you off. What you need to do is actually concentrate on matching this film up with this defroster line that you cut on. If it's on the line perfect, that means it's going to match really well. Don't pay attention to the outside of the film too much. You may want to move it from left to right just to make sure you got it exactly the way you're supposed to. Okay. And you want to gently squeegee this out. No hurry, just get it all squeegeed out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and squeegee the rest of the glass like I'm going to install the next piece, and I will be lining the two seams up together. Okay, now we're going to spray the other half and install this other piece, but we're going to match up that seam. I'm going to install this a little high so I can slide it down. I know this film grabs on these matrix dots. I want to get it in there and kind of work it. Now, I want to slide this down. And now I want to make sure this splice matches perfectly, which is not that hard to do. There's a few tricks to the trade. Looking at the edges. Okay. That's it. Now what I'm going to do is going to kind of gently squeegee it. I don't want to move this film because I have it where I want it. I'm going to gently secure it, and I'm going to go ahead and a little bit of pressure. I'm not hard tooling, I'm just squeegeeing right now. I want to make sure it doesn't slide. I'm looking at this seam to make sure it's still smooth. There's no little catches in it where it's not matching up correctly. Do the other side. I don't want to go up and down, I just want to go left to right along this seam. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mess around with the edges. I'm going to clean the glass, and I'm going to do some really good close-up footage so you can see how well this is come together. Okay, here's the bug back window in 2 pieces. I'm going to let you see it the best I can with this camera. I'm going to go to macro mode. Let's see here. I'm going to get it real close. I'm going to show you where I spliced it. This is the line I spliced it on. I actually missed the line a little bit. Let's see. This is the line right here. I spliced it on. Macro mode. Can you tell which one I spliced it on? Here it is. Right there. I've actually done better before. If you get them right on the line, they're invisible. Let's go around and see what the customer sees. I'll show you something that's pretty cool. For those of you that don't believe I spliced it, voila. And that's how you splice.
Flex on this.